Hey, hello, and welcome everybody to our session today about product office hours. Uh, and good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever, or whatever location you're looking at this one here. So this is our third session about the office hours where you get the option to interact with the direct product management team to talk about the features, the new enhancements that we are coming up with. So today's session that we're going to talk about is our OS patching and our brand new third-party patching. So if I want to just switch the slides. All right. So here's a quick agenda that we are going to be talking about. A quick overview about what this sessions is all about, because in case if you're joining us for the first time, you get to know about what this office hours has been, and what's the agenda and the items that we're going to cover it up. In next slide, if you go there, that's just the general high-level update on what I just covered. So this session is going to be live Q&A. There is a Q&A section. You can use that to ask questions. Deepak, who's with me today, he's going to talk about the third-party patching, and then we'll switch over to the best practices for the OS patching. Uh, we'll try to keep it mixed bag. We'll just go through very light slides and then move over to the demo to show you how things work across. And I'll switch over and be available for answering any questions. At the end, we'll just try and pick some of the questions to answer and get it live for you all. So without wasting much time, Deepak, let's go ahead and get started.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Amit. So, thank you everyone for joining today's session. As Amit mentioned, we are super excited to talk about our new improved third-party patching. Patching has always been one of those key areas that every single partner that we speak to comes up with, and obviously we've heard your inputs about the gaps that we need to fill in terms of third-party patching. We've heard your inputs, and for the good portion of the last year or so, we've been working on this new third-party patching. So the very first thing that you'll notice here is we previously were supporting just about 340 or so titles. Now we are supporting over 7,000 titles. So that's one of the big difference in terms of what's improved with the new third-party patching. In addition to that, the policy UI is also simplified. So you're no longer scrolling through a large UI within policy trying to configure your application. It's a simple two-setting dropdown that you can pick up, and then rest of it lives in a brand new patch approvals page. I'm going to show that in a quick demo, but you can see the screenshot on the right where we have a brand new patch approvals page for third-party patching, which will list down all of the supported applications and its latest version. And in addition to that, we are also going to be showing you the new deployment report that will be going as part of this limited release. So without further ado, let me just go to the UI here. Okay, so so as part of this limited release, we will be launching a new third-party patching tab within your existing patch approvals page. So as I mentioned previously, this is going to list down all the different titles that ConnectWise will support and show its latest version, supported OS, also if somebody's taking actions on it, who reviewed it, when it was reviewed, and what was the result of that review. So you can go ahead and select a couple of applications and then go ahead and approve it. You'll see at the bottom, when this page loads, the total count of applications that are supported. So we are at about 7,146 at this point in time. That number will keep increasing as and when we identify more applications, we verify that they're compatible, and we'll keep adding them to this list. We also have functionalities that you can use to quickly try and narrow down some applications. So let's say you just want something from Google. You can just filter it out and you can see all the different applications available from Google. And once again, you can just go ahead and select them all or as per your need and then go ahead and approve them. So the patch approvals screen, this is the first iteration of it. We'll obviously be adding more improvements in future based on your feedback. In addition, because this is a brand new third-party patching. So in your existing third-party patching policy, you will now have an option like this to turn on the improved third-party patching. So if you have an existing third-party patching, let's say you just want to try it out for a couple of sites, or you just want to toggle over one of your existing set of devices to the new third-party patching, not an issue. You can just enable the new third-party patching. You can just leave the existing one as it is. You don't need to turn it off. The new settings will automatically override. And this is what I was mentioning, where the options are pretty streamlined, where it's simple. It's update all, which is update everything that ConnectWise supports, or update only approved, in which case, whatever you have approved in the previous screen or the patch approved third-party patch approval screen, those will get upgraded. You'll also see options to change the schedule. And again, we've kept this similar to how things were in the past. In addition, as I mentioned, we also have a brand new report, the third-party patch deployment report. This is pretty similar to any of the existing reports that you would have on your UI. You can go ahead and select the companies and sites. You can also filter out these based on certain things. So let's say I just want to look at 11, and I just want to look at, let's say, Google. So I could just filter for here. Let's go and pick up Google Chrome, and I can just go and see okay, what's going on with Google Chrome for that set of device. And you'll see it has all the information of the device, the status, whether it's success or failure. And if it's a failure, you'll also see error messages that show up within the UI. So let's talk about why it's even called a limited release. So as part of the first iteration that we are releasing, we are giving partners an opportunity to opt in for this. You can think of it like an early access. It is so if you're interested to be part of this limited release, you can scan this QR code, or you can type out tinyurl/cwrmm-tpp, and you'll be presented with a survey to just fill in and join for the limited release. So the reason why it's limited release is with the first iteration, we are only supporting desktops as part of the limited release. So Windows 10, Windows 11 desktops would be supported because those are the only operating systems that operate off of winget. And winget is what we are utilizing in the backend to handle these updates. The big difference is if you're just using winget, you're going to run into certain limitations, such as a user has to be logged in and stuff like that. With ConnectWise, you are not going to see those limitations. We have implemented logics on our side to sort of bypass that and be able to update applications even if a user is not logged in. Uh, with the limited release, one of the key things that you are not going to be getting is the tickets. So tickets is something that we are currently working on. So anything that fails today, you won't be seeing any tickets, and that's why it is a limited release. That will be available as part of the general availability on 30th of September. So with the limited release, we hope that partners will provide us the necessary feedback. We're going to go into general availability, and from there, we're going to start iterating. We're going to start iterating these versions with more options. Okay. Right. So you're also going to have new permissions available with the new third-party patching that you can utilize to basically make sure that only certain administrators or certain users have access to the new third-party patching. By default, all super admins and primary super admins will have access to the new third-party patching features. Okay, so like I said, this is a very quick overview of the new third-party patching. We hope that you will like this. We are going to be, by the time it comes to you, you may see a few more applications getting added, a few more minor features, minor improvements that are coming to you. Okay, right. Having said that, let's move on to the next topic for today, which is best practices for patching. So this is something that we have talked about in the past, where uh, we've talked about certain things that are best practices for making sure that your machines remain compatible or at highest compliance as possible, as much as possible. We constantly look at partners who have a great compliance score, which is well over 98, 99% compliance scores. We try to look at what they are doing right, how they're handling their policies and their settings. And we try to make sure that we share it with the community so that others may try to utilize those settings and make use of that to get their compliance score up as much as possible. So a couple of things which, again, we have covered in the past, but I'll just quickly talk about is keeping the downloads as frequent as possible. So making sure that your patches are downloaded ahead of time, ahead of your actual deployment window is key, because if things are not downloaded, you will end up in a situation where the installation window comes in, nothing's downloaded, or the download has failed or something of that sort, and the installation window is just not going to do anything, and it will just fail, and you may have a endpoint that is has a lower compliance score. So it's important that you keep the downloads as frequent as possible. We recommend that you keep it as immediately. This again is important because you can then spread out these downloads over a period of time and avoid network congestions, because on a certain period, let's say 12 a.m., that's when all endpoints are downloading. If you set it as a schedule, you won't have bandwidth getting overloaded because of all the endpoints trying to do downloads together. So that's downloads. As far as installs and reboots go, this would depend from client to client, but a general idea or a general policy setting that works for most partners with high compliance score is keeping desktops on a daily installation schedule and a daily reboot schedule. And the the key thing here is with reboots, with installations and reboots, uh, things you may want to make sure that because of your clients or end users availability or any sort of issues that they may have during business hours, you may want to modify them, but essentially you could just understand what that looks like and try to keep it on a daily schedule or a window that works for them. With reboots, now you have options for customizations with notifications, so that helps to make sure that you are not, not doing reboots that are causing impact to your user. Your user has control of when these reboots go through. Servers goes through designated maintenance windows generally, so you would want to set those during those maintenance windows. Again, making sure that your downloads are immediate allows them to have the installation go smoothly. One of the features that we introduced in the last few months is the patching catch-up option, which works great for desktops. And that has really pumped up compliance score for a lot of partners. This is essentially if your client's endpoints come online anytime within the scheduled window, uh, or it remains offline anytime during the scheduled window, it's not going to matter, because the next time that they come online, we will basically get them up to date. So somebody goes offline for let's say over a holiday, over the weekend, doesn't matter, comes back after the weekend, after the holiday, opens up their machine, the machine starts patching. So patching catch up, very useful for keeping machines up to date. And the last thing which I see a lot of partners uh, underutilizing is using policy groups for customization. Policy groups is a very powerful tool. It allows you to create these one-off maintenance windows or one-off settings that you can apply for your clients, and it has a lot of these flexibility and options that you can utilize. So I'm just going to quickly walk through how policy groups work here. So you go to endpoints, packages, go to policy group, and then you'll see here that there are a bunch of different policy groups that are created. So these policy groups are nothing but policy setting combined with a specific group, or you can basically go create your own set of conditions, let's say at a site level, or based on, let's say, all server 2025 or Server 2022, you can create those customizations and use these sort of hierarchy to then decide how you want these policy groups to work. So this is a very powerful tool, really helps you get to those endpoints which are, let's say, hard to keep updated or have a different schedule compared to the rest of the site. And the last thing, again, just in addition to policy group, is using custom fields. So you can create custom fields, you can use those custom fields within policy groups, and then you can move devices or change those custom fields within those devices such that they move from one policy to the other without you having to utilize the endpoint level override. Okay. One of the few things that we have recently introduced in the UI is the patch testing results. So if you're a partner who is utilizing the patch testing or the patch approvals page, so one of the things that you will notice with the August release is you will have information showing up against each patch. So earlier, this information and the detail of this information was available or is still available as part of the documentation or in the Doc Center. But now what we have done is we have summarized this information right within the UI so that whenever a patch is approved by ConnectWise or recommended as approved by ConnectWise or blocked by ConnectWise, you will know why it was approved or why it was blocked in a quick summary. And then based on that, you can decide if you want to override these settings. So once again, try it out. Let us know how this feels, and we look forward to your feedback on these new features. And last but not the least, talking about reboots, one of the features that we will be introducing soon is a way for you to customize the message shown to the user. So today you do have a way to show a notification as part of a pop-up, but what users generally end up seeing is that, or they end up ignoring that pop-up window. You would have users reaching out to you saying, hey, my machine's rebooted and I don't know what happened. Well, now we allow you to basically put out some customized message to the user and also put a custom delay to basically let them see right in the middle of the monitor, right in their face, why they're about to be signed off. So you'll see there like a pop-up message like this and the information in here. This information would also be part of the event viewer that would show up. So whenever you have issues with end partners or your clients reporting endpoints getting rebooted, you will always know if it's the solution or the RMM which has done the reboot, because you will have your event, the 1074 event ID will now also show this comment. And in addition, you may not even have to go to the endpoint, because we'll start listing these reboots right on the UI. So this is currently in development. We expect this to be available in the next month or so. Right. With that, I will move to the Q&A. Oh, I see a bunch of questions in here. Amit, if you're there, are there anything that needs to be addressed?
Yeah, it was just taking a lot of time to get unmuted. So there are a
Okay.
good amount of questions here. First question is essentially quality of life improvement with respect to, can we get an export of all applications? Also, can you add an export option in the approvals window?
Yes. So yes for both. We are currently working on that right now. We may do an interim release prior to the GA date to make that available. But yes, that is something that is in development, and we will be making that available.
Right, that's great. Another question that came up was, how can I update a browser or a user that's installed in the user's local profile without the user being logged in? And will this handle multiple user accounts on the same machine to patch all instances?
So I think the answer to both is because of, and I'm assuming whoever asked the question knows how winget works, because when you're using winget, that's one of the limitations is you need to have a user logged in, and though only on that user that gets updated. With the ConnectWise solution, like I said, we're not just blindly just using winget. We actually added some additional smartness in that as part of the ASIO platform. So we're looking at every single endpoint that is logged in, and you'll be able to see the information or the applications installed in all of those users which are logging into the endpoint throughout the day. And when we do the update, we try to do an update of every single application that we find to the latest version. So when we do the update, all of the users that have the application, that will get updated.
Okay, that's good. Another question that came out was, will I be able to approve third-party patching for a specific software on day one of the new release? In the example that's provided is Slack.
Did you say Slack? We can
Yes, Slack,
we can we can look it up. Um, yeah, I think we do have Slack here. So yeah, you can go ahead and click on approve,
right?
just like I did.
Right. One of the item, like a couple of questions that came out was about the availability of data in BrightGauge for the third-party patching, and also, can you clarify on the Microsoft compliance? Again, this is for OS patching. I'm trying to combine two
Yeah.
questions because both are related to BrightGauge.
Yeah, so basically within BrightGauge, one of the data points that we are sharing is OS, the Microsoft compliance score. Now that's a little bit different from, say, a patch or a policy compliance score. So let's say you're looking at an endpoint here, and I'm just gonna pick an endpoint here. So when you're talking about the policy compliance score, it calculates based off of what are the applications that are, what are the updates that are available on the endpoint as part of your policy. So let's say you have not selected drivers. So in my example, right, I don't have drivers here. So drivers are actually missing on this endpoint. So when we are calculating the Microsoft compliance, we are basically keeping policy outside, or we are not considering policy, and we are looking at the total sum of all of these or all of these updates from the endpoint. So that way, you know that if you take an endpoint that has a low Microsoft compliance score and somebody goes and clicks or check for update, it's going to download every single thing that's here. So that's the difference between a Microsoft compliance score and a policy compliance score. But yeah, that's something that's a data point that's only available in BrightGauge. We don't expose that in the UI.
Okay. All right. Next question. Can you hide the Windows Update screen completely without reg edits?
The Windows updates, I assume it's the user not being able to see Windows update as an option at all, because uh, not just a check for update. So I don't think at this point we are aware of any mechanism to do that. I'm not even sure if Microsoft has ever shared anything that allows us to do that. But yeah, so today it's not available as an option in general. I'm not sure, I'm not just saying from an RMM standpoint.
All right. Another question just popped up was you mentioned patching catch up. Is this a feature or just a general comment on how the policy will begin the patch installation if it was pre-downloaded?
Oh, great question. Actually, it is a feature which went out recently. So it's been a few months. So if you look under the install window, so the moment you set it as at a scheduled time, you'll see an option called as patching catch-up, and you'll see the option here saying deploy all missing patches the next time the machine comes online. Essentially, if you turn this on, if your endpoint misses this window because it was offline, as soon as it comes online, if patching catch-up is turned on, it's going to get it fully up to date. Like every single patch that it finds, it's going to download and install and get it to up to date. It is not going to reboot the machine though, because reboots can be it can be impactful to a user. So you would still want to make sure that the reboot window is set in a way that works for your end user.
It's good. Interesting question. Can we see at the device level what third-party patches have been installed or updated?
At a device level, so not with the limited release. However, we are working as part of sort of a future roadmap to provide you more information about patching. So essentially, this screen would look a little bit more different to provide you that information of, the applications that we find for, and then what the update or the latest version of that application is, what's installed on the endpoint, and so on and so forth. So this screen, expect changes to come in over the next few months and make that information available.
Right, a quick question on the item that you just covered about the feature update. Does the catch-up also apply to OS feature updates?
It does not. One of the things that we've found was if we enable patching catch-up for feature update, it could cause a lot of impact to the user because feature updates can take about, even with the latest feature update, it can take anywhere between like 35 to 40 minutes to get completed. And if that feature update fails, it would sort of go into a bit of a loop. So we're trying to avoid that. We have kept feature updates and upgrades outside of patching catch-up. It only applies to regular updates.
Good. Right. Another question came in, and I like this question pretty much, which is, will the option for install of missing still be a thing with a new third-party patching?
Yeah, actually, great question. In fact, I saw one more sort of on a similar lines below. But essentially, with the future or as part of the roadmap, there are going to be few different things that we're going to be adding. One of the things is an on-demand deployment. So today, if you want any of these applications specifically pushed out on your endpoint, that is not available. That's certainly not as an option available in general, right? So as part of this new solution, we are going to be introducing an on-demand option, which basically can allow you to select one of these applications. Let's say you want 7-zip, and then you can just go ahead and deploy 7-zip, and you'll have an option like a drawer option to go ahead and deploy 7-zip. In addition, we are also exploring options to pull it up in a task so that you can just, again, don't have to go scrolling through a number of applications to deploy them. You can create a task, and then the task can be allowed or can be used to deploy or push out an application on demand. In addition, we are moving the concept of install if missing away from patching policies because the patching policies are specifically designed to keep the machines up to date. So we're going to move that concept more into monitors. That's how we're exploring it, where you can set up a monitor that says if let's say Google Chrome is not installed, run the task to install Google Chrome, and that task is essentially going to be the task that I just talked about, where you can just pick up an application and go ahead and deploy. So that way you get alerted when, let's say, or you can choose to get alerted if Google Chrome is not installed, and if it's not, the automation runs to then install the specific application. I do see one more question is how far is install if missing option? So yeah, specifically it's not an install if missing option. Think of it more like an on-demand update option. We are looking at it more at November timeline at this point, October-November timeline.
Since we only have about a minute left, Deepak, Amit, shall we move on to just wrapping up with the final few slides there on the next session?
Yeah.
Sure. Right.
I'm glad to see all these questions coming in from partners.
All right. So, we're coming as we are being considering these things, and there were a couple of questions about the recordings. Yes, we have these items being published on the YouTube playlist. You can definitely look at this. Third-party patching one, the one which we're currently on, would be soon published over there. But next week we have our device service overview, and along with our Ask Me Anything. We're going to have a product team available to answer any questions related to the product. Next up with that is also some of the QR codes. We're coming up with our September schedule, which is going to be a mixture of PSA sessions. There's going to be an RMM. We are going to define more details on the RMM session and the broad gauge reporting one. again, based on what we've been hearing from partners. We are setting up the links I put up on the questions, but it's also available on this YouTube channel. You can just scan the QR code to look at some of the previous sessions and all the upcoming sessions as well. And don't forget to sign up for our upcoming session. Here's the QR code for that. We will also be adding it up as part of our in-app messaging. So if there is anything that you would like to ask the product teams directly, feel free to join the session and we'll be glad to answer all those for you. With that, that's right at the time. Thanks everybody for joining in. See you next week.
Thank you, everyone.